A new year, a new you. When I got up this morning, went out to the parking lot to warm my car up for work. I noticed on the side window of my van, see, I used to have a decal of my business name on the side of my van, and it was on there for about three years. It was on there. And I finally took it off. Scraped it off with a razor blade, used a heat gun, heated it up a little bit, peeled it off. That was probably, I don't know, a month or two ago that I took that off. But when I got up this morning, it was cold out and the windows were kind of iced over. And I noticed when I was looking at it from an angle that the words were still there on the window. The impression was left behind. Which got me thinking about the whole idea of how when we go through life, growing up as a kid into our teenage years and further on, that people that raise us, the friends that we hung around with, the experiences we had, they all leave an impression on us. And that's how we learn and develop our belief system. The things that we believe to be true about how the world is or should be. So in my first video, I probably mentioned it again in some of my other videos, I mentioned that I grew up in foster homes, youth homes, juvenile penitentiary. So it was probably 5 years old up until I was about 10 or so. I was in and out of foster homes. So I was taken away by the Department of Children and Family Services, come and take us from our parents, put us in a home with some strangers, put some stipulations on my mom and dad in order to get us kids back. They would do the things, as they would say, would jump through the hoops and do the things that they were told to do in order to get us back. So we'd end up back at the house, back home again. So mainly it was just, that was mainly my dad's side of the family down there. And it was mainly us kids growing up with 4 cousins from one of my dad's brother. So basically just grew up with my uncles and my cousin and my mom and my dad and my brothers and sisters. But in and out of foster homes up until I was about, like I said, 10 or 11 or something like that. And I was sent to my first youth home. One of my cousins had ended up coming to the foster home that I was staying at. We had our chores we had to do. My cousin had laundry a chore. So he was doing laundry, and a girl from the neighborhood actually was in the same foster home, and me and her hooked up and became boyfriend and girlfriend, and we'd be writing notes to each other and stuff. And my cousin was doing laundry, and he found a note in my pocket, either from me to her or from her to me. And evidently, I don't remember it, but they claimed, the foster parents claimed, that I was becoming a danger to my cousin. And we grew up together, and we roughhoused, we wrestled, and this is the way we grew up. We grew up that way. We were rough. We were a rough bunch of kids. But yeah, I ended up getting sent to a youth home, my first youth home. I was at that youth home for, probably a couple years, I'd say. It was while I was at that youth home that had to end up going to a court hearing. So we were in and out of my mom and dad's house in foster home so many times that it ended up in front of the court whether my mom and dad should have the right to even be our parents. And that's when us kids became a ward of the state. Um, and because of all that, it's obviously, you know, was hurt and had a negative impression on the courts, on the Department of Children and Family Services, on caseworkers, on foster parents. I didn't have a good outlook on them. And um, so I developed a belief system that they were bad people, that they were against us, and cops are bad. All my uncles, us kids, we were all in. My dad was in the same juvenile prison I was in, but long story short, after they terminated my mom and dad's parental rights, I used to go from that youth home back and forth. I don't know if it was once a month or every couple of weeks or whatnot. They'd put me on a bus and I'd go to a different town where the foster family was that I was staying with, which my two sisters were there, and my cousin. So I'd get on that bus and I'd get off in the other town. It was, well, after they terminated the parental rights, I got off that bus in that town where the foster family would pick me up. Only when I got off that bus, I headed straight down the alley. I mean, I knew right where I was headed. I headed home. They took me from my parents. They terminated rights. I'm headed home. So I was 12 and a half, 13 years old. 12 and a half. So been to numerous foster homes. Been to had the parental rights terminated. I'm running away. Ran away, went home. And wasn't long after that, my younger brother ran away and he ended up coming home too. He must have heard about me running away or whatnot and followed suit. So he did what I did. It's when I started drinking for the first time. Well, not for the first time. I probably drank with my dad when I was younger. I remember doing that. Drinking champagne with them one time. Yeah, so ran away probably, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. We were watching movies one night at the house, and a Steven Seagal movie. They were making Molotov cocktails, and me and my brother decided to put some soap and gasoline in some empty beer bottles and stuff some rags in there and go out in the alley and light them things on fire and throw them in the alley. A couple 12 packs of them. Well, evidently some of the neighbors got concerned about what was going on and they ended up calling the police. And they chased us down and held us till the police got there. And then we ended up in a little detention center for juveniles. And then ended up in front of a juvenile judge, both of us getting sentenced to the Juvenile Department of Corrections not to exceed our 19th birthdays. So we both ended up in the juvenile correctional system. And got out of the juvenile correctional system 4.5, 5 years later. Went back home to the same neighborhood, my cousins, my uncles, my mom and dad. Well, no. Nope, my mom and dad had moved around because my mom had been sentenced to prison by then. And she was moved around to different states, East Coast, Midwest. And my dad packed up and was just moving to wherever they moved her to. Um, so yeah, she was actually not sure if I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, actually I am. Yes, I am. So, uh, got back to doing the same things, the same things we knew how to do. We were drinking and smoking pot and doing what we wanted to do, stealing bikes, uh, everything and anything you think of to get in trouble. Ended up getting involved in, got introduced to crack cocaine at 18 years old, something like that. It wasn't long after that I stole something from my uncle. Felt bad. Uncle always been good to me, and my mom was out by then, and they were living in another state. I is instantly like, man, this shit's bad. Crack's bad. I stole from my uncle. I'm getting on a bus headed to my mom and my dad's, man. Told everybody I'm out of here. I'm gonna get clean. I'm gonna get a job, get my license, get a car. And next time they saw me, that I was gonna have my shit together. So that was the first time, 18 something, that I started to notice. Obviously, if I would leave, I felt bad about stealing, that it was having a negative consequences on me. I'm sorry if I stop and pause. I'm thinking through all this in my mind, my brain here, trying to recall the timelines of this stuff. So yeah, I ended up getting on the bus. Mom and dad didn't know I was coming. Getting on the bus, went out of state, got off the bus, had to end up calling my sister and asking her what my mom's address was. Got the address, walked, I don't know, it was a couple of hours uh, with my duffel bags all the way down, found the place, rang the doorbell, hear my mom yell down from the window, "Who is it?" And I said, "Jason." She said, "Jason who?" I said, "Your son." She said, "What? I'll be right down." Well, anyway, made it back to my mom and dad after 5, 6 years. Made it back. Uh, Same old same. Picked up drinking again. Uh, Evidently, crack cocaine is in every state in the United States because it was there too. And ended up using that again and started getting in trouble with the law as an adult. But that went to prove the saying that a geographical change isn't going to do nothing because I carried my same mindset, the same beliefs, and everything that I already had to carry that right along with me. I mean, um, I'm still acting the same as I always did, so I didn't see a problem with it. But moral of the story is, when I saw those letters on the side of my van this morning, I'm just standing there smoking a cigarette, waiting for the van to warm up to go to work, and I seen that, and it just made me think about that window, the environment that it was in for 3 years with that sticker on there, with all of the weather conditions, the sun beating down on it, same as life experiences and hardships and all that beating down on me my whole life. Even after I scraped and moved that sticker off of there, when it came to harsh conditions, the elements, the writing was still there. It was still there even after removing the sticker. Like, I removed myself geographically. Um, it didn't help. But yeah, new year, new you. Your life is up to you. You can change anything you want to. Um, I went through this one of these first folders here and kind of put the stuff in order in an outline here. And I was just randomly gonna open it up and pull the first thing out and start presenting it, but I wanted to have some value, so I wanted to be kind of in the order of how it actually pertains to how to change, and kind of introduce some concepts of your beliefs, your core beliefs, your thoughts. It's a belief window. It's how we see everything. Is we have these beliefs that are in our head and in our mind, and it's right in front of us, and that's what we see the world through. And without us even really knowing it, we we have thoughts that come about based on our beliefs, the core beliefs that we have. And from those thoughts, we experience a feeling. And from those feelings, we make a decision to act in a certain way, behave in a certain way. And whether it's negative or positive, there are consequences, negative consequences, positive consequences that come out. Consequence isn't a negative, a negative word. It's just something that comes about from an action. Um, so yeah, I'll have some presentations put together and just try to start delivering this message. Appreciate you watching. Uh, it's a new year, new you. If you're liking what the content that I'm putting out so far, I really haven't put out any much information except for what rattling around in my brain. Um, these are lessons that I've learned in life, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that went through the same things that I went through, that have experienced the same things, and are on the same path that I'm on, the same journey of. Yeah, they say sobriety is not recovery. So I've been sober since October of 2015, and concentrating on basically work and maintaining a living. Until the other night when I've gotten into these folders, that night, was that last night? I believe it was. That was last night. I believe that this is actually the beginning of my recovery. Yeah, I've been recovering over the last 9 years, recovering financially, recovering career wise, and um, the day to day things that, you know, basically earn, buying groceries, keeping the place clean, just surviving every day. But recovery means recovering from, recovering from. So anyway, thanks for watching. Till the next video, we'll get better. I'm learning as I go. This is definitely not easy. At least not for me. It's not easy at all. Like I said, I usually won't even do nothing unless I know I can do it perfectly. And I got all kinds of thoughts running through my head that tell me the way that I'm doing it isn't right. It's not good. But you know what? I will get better at it. I've never presented this information to people. Um, I know it in my brain. I know it in my heart. I've actually, the next video I'm gonna present to you guys some of the certificates and things that I've acquired, and confirm the reason that I think that I'm qualified to actually deliver this content. Um, yeah, that's what I'll do. Thanks for watching. Next time.